Hi, everyone. I'm Shannon Landwehr, President and CEO of the Penn Bay Regional Chamber of Commerce, and I'm spending a few minutes with each of the candidates who are running for a 3-year term on our board of directors that begins in 2025. We're recording these interviews so that our members can get to know the candidates during the election period. Annually, you, our members, have the opportunity to elect other members to serve on the chamber board. Additionally, our existing board then appoints candidates to the remaining seats. The first phase of the process is the member vote, which runs this year from November 1 through November 15th. And as a reminder, each business or nonprofit member gets just one ballot vote. So I'm pleased to be joined today by board candidate Andrew Stewart of Barren Distillery. Thanks so much for joining me, Andrew.
Glad to be here.
So in an effort for our members to get to know you a little bit better, can you share some personal information with us?
Absolutely. Yep. Andrew Stewart. I grew up in Scotland, close to Glasgow, University in St Andrews, and then moved to America briefly after I finished university, traveled around all over the world, and I've been living in the Mid-Coast since 2005, in Hope initially, and now I live in Camden. I have a wife and 2 children, and we are right in the thick of high school right now.
Fun, very fun. So tell us a little bit about your current work and starting the distillery.
So the distillery, we have been in production since 2018. We started, for both my business partner, Jeremy Howard, and myself, it was a second business. It was a background business. I was running a restaurant called the Droithy Bear at the time, and he was running Heartwood Carpentry, as well as working in his family business, Brodus Blueberries, which is a 7th generation blueberry farm in Hope. And it's definitely had some setbacks. We had COVID right very close to when we launched, and then there was a fire down on the wharf, so we had to relocate, struggle with the insurance process, and rebuild. And now we have 2 locations. We have our production facility in Hope with a seasonal tasting room, and we have a seasonal restaurant and tasting room in Camden on the harbor as well.
That's great. So I was fortunate to hear a little bit about your work history prior to this, just recently, joining you at the restaurant. But could you share a little bit about that work history and maybe a call out accomplishment that you are particularly proud of?
I've worked in hospitality for a long time. It was something I did to support myself during university. And it also helps when traveling to have that to fall back on. But yeah, I worked for a multinational tour operator called Abercrombie & Kent in London. I have worked since then, probably been self-employed since 2005. Operated the Hope General Store for 9 years. I think probably my proudest accomplishment is that that store is still open and still very vibrant and an amazing part of the community still with the new owner, Damon. I think that is probably what I'm most proud of. Also, of course, my community award from the Penn Bay Chamber that I won, I think 2007. Yeah, and then I was the executive director of Hope Elephants and ran that while that was in operation. So just multiple businesses. I've been through the process of starting businesses, operating business, different sizes, different organizations, some with a large number of employees, some with just a couple. So I do feel I have quite a good insight into what it is to run a business or be part of the community in the Mid-Coast.
Thank you for that. So how are you involved at all in other ways in the community through other boards or volunteerism?
Not currently. I am on the board. I am part of the Camden Farmers Market. So I do work with them and go to those meetings. Largely, I'm on the committee for fundraising. In the past, I was on the Knox County committee for the Maine Community Foundation. I did that for 7 years. I was actually the chair of that for a long time. I was on the Hope Rec Committee when I lived in Hope. So I have been very active in the community. That's taken a bit of a backseat over the last few years while we focused on this new business. But yeah, definitely, I'm sure I will be back in that role somewhere very soon.
So as a chamber member, why do you believe the chamber is important for our area?
I think anything that helps and supports businesses in any area, but particularly here, because this is where we live, is important. I think it is very challenging to have a business in the Mid-Coast. I think, the population level makes it challenging. I think the seasonality makes it challenging, because you need to be able to react to being very busy, but also then be able to sustain the business when it's very quiet. And I feel like that's, a reflection of Maine as a whole. We are very tourist dependent, regardless of what politicians in Augusta say. That is the backbone of this state. And so even a production facility like ours, of course, the restaurant, we're very busy with that in the summer, but our sales are predominantly in the summer period, and that drops off dramatically in the winter because the number of people in the state buying drops dramatically. So any help and support to sort of build businesses and nurture new businesses, which I think definitely high tide raises all boats, is a credo to live by, and I think the chamber helps with that for sure.
So what will you bring to the chamber as a board member?
I have lots of ideas, and I shouldn't say this in the interview, probably many of them would be very popular, but I do think it's necessary for more outreach. I think I did, prior to this meeting, speak to a number of people that I know who have businesses who are not part of the chamber, and I feel perhaps I think networking is fantastic, but I think perhaps opening things up to people that aren't necessarily members, and offering benefit to the community as a whole, possibly lowering costs and making it more accessible. I think the biggest demographic missing in this area is the 20 to 30 to 40-year-old demographic, which of course is the driving force for new businesses. That is a limited pool here. I feel like the cost is excluding a lot of people who would potentially benefit from the chamber. Obviously, I'm not already part of the chamber, so I don't really know the discussions that have happened around this, but those are my feelings from the outside and not being on the inside.
Thank you for that. So in these final few moments, is there anything else that you'd like to share with our members, or leave as parting words?
I know a large number of people in the chamber, so I'm grateful and flattered to be invited to be part of the chamber in this capacity. Yeah, very much appreciate the support. So thank you.
Well, thank you, Andrew. Thank you very much for joining me today and for your interest in joining the Chamber Board of Directors.
Thank you.
Thanks. Bye-bye.
Bye.